Hello everybody and welcome to episode 22 of our Let's Play. Last time we actually finished a world in Rain's World, and today we are going to complete 3 more worlds in terms of unlocking characters, of course. Those being 7th World, DM World and DSOD World. Leaving a single character for GX, which of course will be unlocked in the next episode. However, today we are starting off with Romin. I'm going to show you a replay when Yuga duels Romin at level 10 at the gate, and I need to get a comeback victory and I need to win the duel in general. So kind of redundant, both missions, but hey, I mean, if I get a comeback victory it is a win, so what gives? And the problem with Romin is that she thins out her deck. She actually deals damage to her own life points and pays life points and stuff. Like there's one monster that makes her lose 800 life points so that she can deal 300 points of damage to me. So kind of bad, honestly. So I didn't summon a monster initially and let her attack me until I was at like 3000 or slightly below life points, which is usually what I do to get this done and not have any issues with this. And that means I can unlock Romin now and have the final 7th world character. And since we already cleared Go Rush World a while ago, we are now done with both of the Rush worlds. So we can now focus on the Speed worlds, and the first one for me here is then DM World. So I'm going to show you a replay for DM Yugi's unlock, which is that Seto Kaiba, DM version, duels Yami Yugi at level 30, who happened to spawn in the world, and this will be the final duel that we need to do for DM Yugi's unlock, and the mission is that I win with 1000 or less life points remaining. The other missions were that Yami Yugi gets a no damage win against Seto, Yami Yugi defeats Joey with 1000 or less life points remaining. Yami Yugi summons 2 level 7 or higher monsters in a single duel against anyone, which happened against Arcana and Maximilian Pegasus, so that's done already. And Joey gets a win against Yami Yugi at level 30 in general. And that's all we need to do to unlock DM Yugi. And here, for this duel, that I have to win with 1000 or less life points remaining, I of course refer to my hieroglyph lithographs once again, and need to wait until I have all 3 copies of those. What also would work, but only if you have a spell or trap cards to protect yourself, you could just not summon a monster and let them attack you, which is basically what I did against Romin at the beginning of this episode. However, I personally prefer to control the duel and activate the hieroglyphs when I'm about to win the duel, and can go for game here. So, DM Yugi is one of the final characters we need for DM World, and he is actually important in the sense that we need him to unlock Solomon Muto, so another character in DM World. So without Yugi we cannot get Solomon, and therefore he gatekeeps Solomon, and that's one more unlock we need to do with Yugi here. Then I focus on Yami Marik next. So the first replay that I want to show you here is that Yami Yugi dueled Yami Marik at level 10 at the gate. And the objectives are that we summon Slifer the Sky Dragon and that we get damage in with 3000 or more points with one attack. And that's of course easily done with Slifer. So previously, before they changed the missions, we had to do this against him at level 30, which costed a lot more gate keys and was more annoying because he was a tougher opponent, of course. And also we needed to get 4000 points of damage in with a single attack. So they made it easier for us, and I highly appreciate it. Also, something that happened in between of all of these duels was that Bandit Keith spawned in at level 10 in the world, and I do not need to unlock Bandit Keith anymore. However, I was able to use Mai and conduct the vessel farm to get 10,000 points of effect damage in, but I did not record that because you have seen your fair share of vessel farms in this challenge or in this video and the series. That's what I wanted to say, in the series. So yeah, I did not record that, and it happened off screen basically. This second replay that I'm showing you right now is Joey versus Yami Marik at level 10 at the gate once more. And the objective is that we win with 1000 or less life points remaining. So basically the same stuff that Seto Kaiba did against Yami Yugi at level 30 earlier in this episode. And there's not really much to say about that. We just need to wait until we get the cards we have, or we need to have, like the hieroglyph lithographs, and then swing in for game. I think Yami Marik can also deal a little bit of effect damage, but not an amount that would actually make him reliable, so it's better you take care of your life points yourself. Then we have one final duel, which is Mai versus Yami Marik at level 10 that happened at the gate as well, and we summon a level 10 or higher monster in a duel against Yami Marik using Mai. And just like with the Yami Yugi and Joey duels that we had before, previously this had to be done against him at level 30, and no longer the case, so I appreciate that. The level 10 monster that I summoned was Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, because I can summon it quite early. It is a special summon, but it requires 3 monsters on my side of the field as tributes, or as sacrifices that I have to send to the graveyard. So let's say I'm going second, then I have the turn 2 to summon a monster, turn 4, and then turn 6. And in turn 6, after summoning the monster, normal summoning the monster, I can send all 3 of them off to summon Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, which makes this quite a fast unlock, or fast duel. And we unlocked Yami Marik, and now we can take care of Solomon. This one is Seto Kaiba, the M-World version of course, versus Solomon at level 30 at the gate. This one specifically had to be against him at level 30. And the one objective we had was that he has to reduce his life points to 0 with Blue Eyes White Dragon. And of course, I this time around didn't get a single monster in my opening hand, but only spell and trap cards. Fun times game. And this picks up on a complaint I had in the previous episode, which was that I would only open monsters and no spell trap cards to save me. But it is what it is, and the game does what it wants to do, and nothing we can do about it. So, we need to wait until we get a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then we need to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. I also have a few monsters to sacrifice on the field, and Gaia, the Dragon Champion, is a card that I haven't seen him summon in ages, but it is fine since I can protect me now, and Blue Eyes White Dragon was drawn and can go for game here. So that is one of the missions, and then we have another replay that I'm going to show you, which is Maximilian Pegasus against Solomon Muto at level 30 at the gate again, and the one objective that we have is that Pegasus wins this duel, so no extra shenanigans like summoning a specific monster, win in a specific amount of turns, have a specific amount of life points left, nothing of that sort. We just need to win. And winning is what I like to do most in this game, so I just go ahead and do that. The other missions are the same as the one that I'm going to show you now, which is the third replay, and it is DM Yugi dueling Solomon Muto, preferably at level 10 at the gate, but the level doesn't matter. And the one objective again is just that we win. And then we have the other 2 duels that we already had previously in former videos, which was that Joey won a duel against Solomon and Taya won a duel against Solomon. So basically Seto versus Solomon 30, Blue Eyes to 0, Pegasus versus Solomon 30 win, Yugi, Joey and Taya versus Solomon win. That's all we needed to do, but it's 5 separate duels, so it takes a while, and if you're doing most of them at the gate, you spend quite a number of gate keys here. And while he's at level 30, he likes to play the Exodia pieces, but not so much for the Exodia summoning condition, or winning condition, but rather for Exodia Necros, which he likes to add to his hand with Witch of the Black Forest or whatnot. But that's whatever. you shouldn't have a problem here. And after unlocking Solomon, we completed DM world. We are now in DSOD world, and we have one character left in DSOD. That is, of course, Aigami, who was unlockable at stage 10. So this first replay here, we only have 2 for him. The first replay is that DSOD Yugi has to duel him at level 30. And I want to summon a level 7 or higher monster, I want to activate 3 continuous trap cards, and I want to get a comeback victory. Hence I let him attack me in the beginning of this duel, so that I do not need to spend any time waiting for hieroglyph lithographs and can just build my board here and attack. So the level 7 or higher that I summoned was my synchro monster here, my Stardust Dragon. And that counts as well. I mean, probably they intend for you to use Dark Magician or something like that, but we do not need to care. You summon a level 7 or higher monster and you are in the clear. The continuous trap card stuff is a little more refined in the sense that continuous trap cards clog up your spell trap zone, and if they are not good, like just Dragon's Wrath or whatever, you cannot use that slot to protect yourself, so I prefer playing cards like Embodiment of Apophis, which also happens to be a continuous trap card, but it also can be used as a monster, so that was fine. Now that duel was the more difficult one, since we are now probably, or maybe not for the final time, doing a vessel farm featuring Obelisk the Tormentor. So DSOD Seto is dueling Aigami at level 10 at the gate, and the 2 objectives are that we summon Obelisk with Seto and that we deal 7000 or more points of effect damage in duels against Aigami. And that, of course, can be combined if you use the Vessel Farm and summon Obelisk the Tormentor during that. And honestly, 7000 effect damage is easy with Gravekeeper's Vessel. You can do this with just 1 union attack, but if you have 2 union attacks, you are even in better shape. Also, I use my Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon's effect to increase my monster's attack points and decrease an opponent's monster's attack points, so that my vessel will be able, theoretically at least, to deal more damage, since union attack gives my Gravekeeper's Vessel the buffed attack points of Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon as well. So that's quite nice. Also, I waited for the last turn to summon my Stardust Dragon, since, again, Hypersynchron beefs it up by quite an amount, and then we can just use our usual stuff and attack with, after activating Union Attack on Gravekeeper's Vessel, and just for good measure and for safety, we had anti-magic arrows. So that's one final and a very clean way of dealing effect damage and conducting the vessel farm. So if you have not understood yet or haven't seen me do that yet because you somehow skipped this, then this final Aigami duel that I had was one that I would recommend, probably. However, we are now done with DSOD world, and that's another one down. So we can swap to GX. And I had a short intermission when Jaden dueled Jaden at level 10, who spawned in the world, and got 2 more ritual summons done for the Alexis unlock, since one of the Alexis missions is that we need to perform 3 ritual summons in general. It doesn't matter in which world you do it, can be here, can be anywhere else. And since I had to perform a ritual summon against the Gore at level 30 for Soulburn and Flame, in the previous episode I already got a single ritual summon done. So that was that. And now we were able to duel Alexis at level 20 at the gate with Jaden, and the one objective, of course, is that we win. We also had to perform 3 ritual summons against anyone in any world, as I said, and the final Alexis mission is that we have to collect 5 water attribute monsters. And again, if you do not want to spend any resources, you could just use your standard duelists to level up someone like Meiko Tsunami or Reginald Castle or whatever. Even Rio has water attribute monsters as level up rewards, so I think you should be fine there. And it will definitely happen eventually, otherwise you can just go to the card trader or do whatever it takes and you can unlock Alexis. Then I am going for Jaden Yubel next, but I need 2 specific cards for that. Yubel Terra Incarnate and Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare. However, when dueling Yubel throughout this playthrough, I didn't have the luck of getting these cards as drop rewards, which means I unfortunately have to spend 2 Super Ultra tickets on those. I decided to use a prismatic Super Ultra ticket on Terra Incarnate, since Terra Incarnate is summoned more often, and when I'm playing as Yubel and doing like Yubel dual stuff, I usually end up on Terra Incarnate on the field, since it blows up all other monsters on the field during each of my end phases, and therefore I do not need to summon the Ultimate Nightmare in those duels, so it's better to have that one as a prismatic, which is the reason I did it this way, and I got a glossy ticket, Super Ultra ticket on Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare. Those 2 need to be summoned. So the replay number 1 that I'm going to show you here with those 2 cards in my deck is that Yubel duels Jaden at level 10 at the gate, and we perform a fusion summon. We summon Yubel Terra Incarnate, and we also summon Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare. And here it is important to note that you have to summon Incarnate and Nightmare properly. So no shenanigans with a skill that says like you can send a Yubel you control to the graveyard to summon or to play a Yubel Terra Incarnate or whatever. No, it is in fact the case that you need to summon them properly, which is of course that Yubel has to be destroyed by a card effect. Then we can summon Terra Incarnate from anywhere besides the banished zone, of course, and if Terra Incarnate then leaves the field, or when Terra Incarnate leaves the field, it's an optional effect that can miss timing, we can summon the Ultimate Nightmare from anywhere besides the banished zone. And here in this duel I'm quite a bit stubborn, in the sense that I want to defeat him with Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare specifically. I could have wrapped this duel up a lot sooner, but I didn't, just out of spite. But whatever. Then the second duel here is that Jaden duels Yubel at level 10 at the gate, and we have 2 objectives left, which are that we gain 3000 or more life points in a single duel against Yubel, and that we activate 3 spell cards in a single duel against Yubel. So a lot of spell cards have life point gaining effects like blue medicine, red medicine, and so on. I also keep monsters in my hand so that I can later activate my spell card, reload to shuffle my monsters back into my deck, and draw cards that the same number of cards that I had in my hand before, so that there's a chance that I get my life point spell cards. And honestly, against Yubel at level 10, 1 monster would be all I need. It was a mistake to summon a second one in the first place. Also, my Elemental Hero Stratos thins out my deck, which is good, because Yubel at level 10 plays 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, getting their deck quite low quite fast. Also, for some more life points that are not gained with the spell card, I have Gift of the Mystical Elf in this deck, but don't you worry, I'm going to show you both decks, the Yubel deck that I used and the Jaden life points deck, after this duel and before the unlock. Because that's what I do for a living, apparently. So, yeah, that said, we can just keep our cards in hand and then wait until we have reload and a lot of monsters, and we activate the spell cards as soon as we get them, and then reload, shuffles the monsters back in the deck and gives us a chance at getting the spell cards, and so on, as I mentioned before and explained before. So here the Yubel deck, I'm using Thunder Crash and some other stuff here to actually destroy Yubel and Yubel Terra Incarnate, so that I can summon Incarnate and the Ultimate Nightmare respectively. Nothing too special and nothing too convoluted, just plain and simple. And this is the life point gaining deck that I was using, with a lot of spell cards, not a lot of monsters, and a few trap cards to heal my life points. This now allows us to unlock Jaden Yubel, and I might say he's quite a cool guy. I like him. And Jaden Yubel is also needed for a 5Ds character unlock, that of course being Paradox. which is that Jaden Yubel here, this guy, needs to summon elemental hero Neos against Paradox, but that happens in another video, maybe in the next one. So thank you so much for watching.